guys, and welcome back to the Dyslexic Reader. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a discussion video. The first book I read of January was The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and the first two books I read in February was the graphic novel adaptations, and I just wanted to do sort of a novel versus graphic novels. I sort of discussed this in my January wrap up. So first book of 2017, I was looking at ebooks from the library and I saw Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book. I'd heard good things about it. The only other Neil Gaiman book I've read is Coraline, but I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I thought I'd give him another go. I gave this a 1 star on Goodreads, which means couldn't finish it for me. So if I give anything 1 star, that's like the lowest of the low, couldn't even make it through. And that's what I gave to The Graveyard Book when I read it in ebook format from the library. I got about maybe a quarter or a third of the way in, and I just didn't finish it. I couldn't connect with the characters. I found the descriptive language bitty, like I found it hard to follow. When he was describing the characters, I found it hard to picture. I know it's abstract and it's talking about ghosts and stuff, but I found it really difficult to get into the writing style, which I didn't find with Coraline. And as well as that, I found that a lot of the story was irrelevant. There was sort of talking about daily occurrences which had no impact on the storyline, which I don't really like in a book. Like, if it somehow magically at the end all ties together or something, okay, fair enough, but it needs to seem to the reader as they're reading it like it's important or it could be important. But I felt like it drolled on talking about day after day, and I know it was introducing characters and stuff, but I found it a bit boring and monotonous, and on top of the struggle with the language and writing style, I didn't get into it at all. Feeling foxy. Do you like my mug? It's actually a friend's mug who used to live with me. She moved to Spain and left her mug behind. That's one of my favourite mugs. It's huge. You can get a lot of tea in here, which is appreciated. So Ruth, if you're watching, your mug's here if you ever want to claim it. Well, so the sort of end of January, I went to the library. I was looking for some books, as you do, and I was looking in the graphic novel section. I always have a browse there. I very rarely get many things from the graphic novel section. I do read them, and semi-regularly, I guess, more than a lot of people would read them, but I never really get much. It's more my younger brother is very into Marvel, and I always just like to, it's one shelf in our library, that's all we have, one shelf of graphic novels, but they do change quite a bit. They seem to circulate with other libraries, so I always like to go in and have a look, and if there's anything I see that I think he would be interested in, I lift him for him while it's there. So I was looking, and these caught my eye. The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, but it was an adaptation by P. Craig Russell. It's 2 volumes. I got both and I read them both. I read them as part of a Mojicon, so I'm on my 3rd book already for the month-long read-a-thon out of the 4. But these were my 2 quickest, obviously being graphic novels. One I picked for the horror/thriller Sonia, and the other one in under 24 hours, which is what I managed to do. I like these. One of the things that really caught my eye was the fact that each chapter in both is done by a different artist, so you can see sort of like the character style there versus maybe an earlier chapter. Like, it's a different art style, it's different artists do every chapter, which was really interesting. I thought, I don't think I've ever, well, definitely not noticed it in a graphic novel before, or if there's several artists obviously working on one, they're sort of working together and they do characters, or one does background or whatever, but to have like a completely different person for each chapter with no overlap, I thought was really interesting. One of the reasons why I thought I would find the graphic novels a lot easier to read, there was 2 reasons, and it was exactly the same 2 reasons as I had problems with the novel. So, first of all was sort of descriptive language, and a problem with sort of picturing the characters and scenes and things. So obviously in a graphic novel that's not going to be a problem when the pictures are there for you, so I find that useful. And as well, I found the novel text heavy, if you want to sort of put it that way. There was a lot of words and it wasn't really getting a lot of meaning across. Obviously in a graphic novel the text is minimal, so it's quicker, the visuals are a lot easier, and there's less text to trawl through, and that worked for me. One of the other graphic novels that I have read that has helped me when I was struggling with the novel was The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. I've tried the novel a couple of times, got a wee bit into it and then stopped. And I feel like that's one of the books that everyone should know the story of. Like, it's a classic. Like, I wanted to read it. I really did. I tried several times. And I picked the graphic novel up at the library, and obviously it's not word for word accurate, but I feel like I now know the story and the characters and the sort of ideas sort of behind it, at least at a basic level. I think for dyslexics, graphic novels are great. They can convey stories through, well, I suppose it's multimedia because you're looking at the pictures as well as the text in conjunction to sort of create the story in your mind. So it can be a lot easier visualization, like words into pictures in your mind for dyslexics can be hard. And again, that sort of text heavy, lots of descriptive text can be hard as well, like just actually physically reading it. So I enjoyed the graphic novel. I won't say the story was my favourite. When I got to the end I was like, okay, like it wasn't an amazing story. I gave volume 1 3 stars on Goodreads, which was sort of, I finished it and it was sort of like the good and bads were sort of equal. I wouldn't really say either was it good or was it bad. I finished it and I enjoyed it, but like there was some downfalls. It was sort of the same as the novel. I suppose I didn't get farther the more volume 1 ends in the novel. I found it a bit monotonous and some parts of the storyline unnecessary, I guess. I gave volume 2 4 stars, which for me is, I had more positives than negatives. I thought the ending was wrapped up really well. I thought there was a lot of suspense more in the second half, like wanting to read on and find out what happened. I felt like that didn't really kick in until the second volume. But overall, to complete the 2 volumes of this and give them a 3 and 4 star on Goodreads as opposed to a 1 star for the novel. Apparently my Bluetooth speaker is just talking now. The 1 star for the novel on Goodreads that I couldn't even finish, so it definitely was 3 or 4 times better if you look at it that way. I feel at peace knowing how the story ends now, because I was almost tempted to Google how it ends when I couldn't finish the book, because I just wanted to I didn't want to read the book, but I wanted to know how it finished type thing. But I'm glad I got the graphic novels. I think it's wrong of us to think as graphic novels as lesser or as childish compared to novels. I think they're a great alternative. They're a different way of getting a story across, and I think they are becoming a more valued sort of art form, and sort of valued for their as a form of literacy, especially in schools. Well, in Northern Ireland anyway. Sort of if a kid was reading a comic, they were told they weren't reading, or reading a graphic novel, they were told that wasn't reading. And I think they've come along a lot. There's a lot more graphic novels in the classroom, and they're sort of being discussed as part of lessons, which I really think has been a benefit to a lot of children. A lot of children mightn't consider themselves readers, but they could be tearing through graphic novels and comics like nobody's business. And I think it's really important that we see value in that. For me, the novel, I wasn't going to get through it. It was too hard. I wasn't connecting. and if I'd let it, I think it could have put me in a reading slump. Like, it was my first book of the year. I was excited to read it, and I was just reading it thinking, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I can't get this at all. I feel a lot better now actually diving into the graphic novels and getting the storyline and actually connecting and thinking, yes, I understand what that means now. I think it's given me almost a confidence book in reading novels, even not just graphic novels, and I think that it's really important. I think in BookTube as well, graphic novels are getting more of a say and more sort of discussion, and I think that's really interesting how society's changing and towards that, although a lot of us in BookTube are pretty nerdy anyway, so graphic novels is maybe more of our thing. Like, if you haven't like noticed by now, or this is your first time watching any of my videos, I'm extremely nerdy, as you can probably tell by like the 300 zooms that are behind me, and that's not even all of them. You can also see all my Disney princess stuff down here, like this room's filled with Star Wars and everything, Avengers, so there's no shame here. Yeah, so as a whole, graphic novels I feel need to be supported, more viewed more positively in the not only the art form sense but in the literary sense. I feel like, in my opinion, these graphic novels were superior to the novel. Obviously that's not going to be everyone's opinion, but I felt so, and I would urge anyone who's maybe tried a book, struggle, even if you finished it but you've not understood a lot of it or are left confused, if you see the graphic novels like in a library or something, pick them up, give them a go. I would encourage anyone to read more graphic novels, full stop. I feel like they're almost good brain training because you're getting the words. Okay, this is for young and old. Dyslexics, I think it's really important. You're getting the words but with a picture to go with it. So it's almost reinforcing in your brain, this word means this picture. And I feel like things like that can really, doing that once in a while really
Bluetooth
increases.
Connected.
It's just speaking now, like it was connected 5 minutes ago, it's still connected and it's still speaking. But it can increase the sort of the fluency of your reading and make it flow a lot easier. And not just in this one graphic novel, but it sort of gets your brain more in tune, especially if you haven't read in like a long time, or you've just come off a difficult novel, or you're going into a difficult novel. I think that, you know, it's good, it's healthy for everyone. Getting diverse reading, whether you read newspapers, magazines, you pick up kids' books once in a while, plays. I think reading diversely, not only in like genre, as in horror, contemporary, but in like actual writing styles, so reading factual magazines, children's books, plays, I think that's really important to brain development and developing sort of a sense of the word. I'm sure people maybe who are dyslexic out there listening to this are thinking, but I know how to read, I don't need to develop it anymore. But I find for myself, and I know this is true of a lot of dyslexics, it's a work in progress and it can easily slip if you don't maintain it. So that's where I'm coming from on this point of view. Just a quick update on Emoji-a-thon, which is a month-long readathon. I have a whole video on it. I'm on my third book, The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. I'm going to do a review on this. The style is intriguing. I've never read anything like it. I'm enjoying it, but at the same time I'm not sure I would want to read anything like it again. It's sort of I'm glad I experienced that, but I'm not going to be rushing to do it again. It's odd, I don't think about halfway. So, we'll see. But just a quick update, if anyone's wondering, go and watch my Emoji-a-thon video. It's not too late to jump into Emoji-a-thon because it runs the whole month of February, and there's only 4 challenges, so I'm on my third one already. It's not a hard task. Please feel free to comment below. Have you read the Graveyard Book? Have you read the graphic novels? Have you read any graphic novels that you've also read the novel original of? Or are you aware of any graphic novels that have been adapted into novels, sort of like the other way around? Don't be afraid to contact me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, which will all be linked below. Sorry it's been so long since my last video, I've been really busy this week. But I'll hope to see you again in a couple of days' time. Bye!